Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing something kind of weird. I guess I got to stop saying that. I'm always doing something kind of weird. Anyways, I'm gonna go up in the belfry of the church here. There's an issue I noticed. I was up there a couple months ago with a buddy of mine, showing him the bell and stuff, and it's a problem up there I think I can take care of, but we're gonna take a climb up and have a look. I'll take you inside. We're gonna climb all the way up into the top up there, way up there, and see if we can get some measurements off the bell. I gotta make some bushings, I think, for it. We'll take a look. Just trying to give you a little perspective here. Of course, we're going up there where the belfry is. So this is a pretty big building. We're gonna be up there quite a bit. But it always amazes me that way up there, way right up in there, there's a little square door, and that hole is where the guys would go out to work up above there, work on the slate below it or whatever. And it's unbelievable to me that you would climb out there. Anything we have to do now, we do it with a big man lift, but back in the day, that's how they did it. Steeplejack would climb out there and he would fix the lightning rods or whatever. Pretty amazing. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna go inside and we're gonna go up there and take a look at this bell, see if it's something we can take care of. Here again, I'm just trying to give you a little perspective. This is a big building. I don't know, the balcony's probably 12 feet off the floor, and then above the balcony, I don't know, probably another 30 feet or something up there. So it's quite high. Where we're going to be walking is above that ceiling up there, the top ceiling. But this is quite an old building. It's really quite pretty. You know, I was baptized right here 50 years ago, and got married right there, and both of my kids were baptized right here. So I got a lot of history here, and I guess that's why I feel it's not too much of a trouble to try to take on a little chore once in a while to keep the place going. We'll head up now. It's quite a kind of a maze to get up to the up into the belfry. So this is kind of where the the fun part begins. We're on the second floor. This is a closet, obviously, just a storage closet. Over here in the corner, you got a set of stairs, and they go up. And when I was a kid, I can remember doing this with my father, and it was not so civilized. We didn't have any stairs. And once you got up there, when we get up in there, you're gonna see that there's a whole nice work platform and stuff. And that was all built when they renovated the building some years ago. And we're gonna go up those stairs and through this trap door. Shouldn't be too many bats this time of year. Oh, there's the light. Okay, so now we go up through here, and all of this stuff, this is all new. Oh, you can tell it's modern, you know, but when I was a kid, I can remember making this trip, and it was not so. It was all, you know, like that right there. It was just boards nailed to the wall. You climbed all the way up and sneaked across there and stuff. So it's a lot easier now than it was, but it's a bit of a chore. It isn't a thing that you do every day, you know. This is kind of neat. This hole in the wall here is it looks out into what used to be you know, this up in the ceiling of a room, and at some point they decided to lower the ceiling, and they just kind of blocked off the top of the windows. But it's pretty neat that it's all still here. It's even painted like it was and wallpapered like it was way back then. In the ceiling is, I don't know if they were vents or if they were stained glass or what, but there's a couple of them. Kind of cool. And then we go up here. So now we're looking on top of that room. The hole over there where one of them things was. A hole over there. They were probably vents for the summertime. There's a, this is a platform, and then we go up some more. All them black specks are bat droppings. Shouldn't be any bats this time of year, but sometimes it gets warm enough. So now we're looking down. So we're up. Here's the peak of the roof, and this is the work platform that they built. It's got handrails and everything. It's quite nice compared to what it used to be. But this is looking down off the edge of, if you go back to when we were in the sanctuary looking up, this is the shape of the ceiling. It drops off here. So this is just the top side of all that, and the heavy timbers are just amazing to me. The fact that they got them up here and put up in 70 something, I think it was. Pretty amazing. So we're gonna walk all the way. So we came up near the back of the building, and we're walking back out towards Main Street now. These timbers, I don't know if it gives you any perspective or not, but I don't have any light. I mean, there's my hand. My finger fits right in those cracks. This is big, pretty big. Pretty awesome. So now we're at the front wall of the building. In fact, if you look out this vent, and it's Main Street down there. Oh, here comes a car. So we're up there a bit, not crazy yet. So this whole structure up here is just to hold up the bell. I mean, this is the bell tower. We're standing underneath the bell tower right now, looking straight up. And up there, you can see where the rope goes through. There's a pulley there. That rope, we'll see it when we get up above, but that rope runs from the bell down here. Hold on. And then it goes on down. Down there, there's another pulley, and from there it drops straight down through the ceiling, down through the staircase, all the way down to the first floor. And that's how you ring the bell. You pull the rope from way down there, and she gives you the ringy dingies. Has to be replaced every so often. Pretty neat. That ladder will take us up to a little trap door. Once in the belfry, it's worth it. It's pretty cool. All right, we'll get up there. See if I can. I don't know if I can hold the camera, hold the flashlight, and not fall down to my death. And find out. All this straw that comes in here is pigeons in the summer. They come into the belfry and they bring in their straw, and then they apparently just drop it, I guess, before they get their nest built. You'd think they'd be more careful. Have to haul a lot less straw. Oh, look it, we're perfectly safe. Somebody put some rusty wire loosely on there. Nice. All right, now we do this. Old man noises. Here we are. There, we have arrived. Man, the chimney effect. The air coming up out of that hole is something. Now I always put this back over. Not because of that, but because I'm kind of an idiot and I will step right there. So it's best to cover it up. So here we are. You can look out the vents now. You see that, that's the ridge of the roof of the main building right there. And when you look down, we're up there a bit. Out here is Main Street. Cars coming. Yep. So now we're up there. It's high enough it kind of puckers you up a bit. I always love the stuff people have painted on the wall here. That one says AP, probably somebody's initials, I don't know. 1915, 15 years. Probably a 15-year-old kid, and they let him paint his initials up here or something. They're helping to paint the belfry, I don't know. JAB. Mostly it's not vandalism because nobody can get up here. You know, the church is locked and it's really not accessible. So it's all people that most likely they did some work of some sort. This is why we're here. This bell. But what I noticed when I was up here was this right here. You can see that obviously used to have a bushing of some sort, and that's long gone, and the bell is just wearing, and you know, it doesn't even do a revolution, it just rocks back and forth, but over time it will wear its way through. It'll either wear its way through under here, or it'll wear this shaft right off. You know, worst case scenario, the bell could drop, or if it wears down into here a ways, it could get stuck and get to where you have to pull the rope really hard. In fact, I'm willing to bet you that even right now that rope pulls much harder than it used to. If this had a bronze bushing in it, and maybe, yeah, see, there's a hole up here that most likely was for dripping oil into it, and that's all gone. So probably the other side's worn even worse because that's the side you pull on with the rope. So I'm thinking it would probably be well worth it to get some measurements here, see if I can just machine a bronze bushing. And looking at it, it really, I mean, the inside has to be somewhat close to this diameter, which I'm sure is an even number, probably 1 inch. The outside could be kind of big, really, and it just kind of gets clamped. So it's not a precise, it's not a super precise thing. It just has to be somewhere near right. But if I make bushings to even numbers, I'm betting you that'll work, and we can take these saddles off. We'll have to somehow pick the bell up. I think we could haul up a bottle jack maybe and put some little rigging under there and jack up on it, just enough to slide a bushing on, and then put the saddle back on. I can have a hole in it so that you can get oil in there. I could even put a grease fitting, I guess. I guess nowadays that's how you would do it, is a grease fitting. As long as you use the grease just for winter time so that it won't be all sticky, hard to wring. But that's why I'm here. I wanted to come up, take a look, take a couple measurements, and just give it a little thinking on, you know? Oh, look at that. That says Morris Pendergrass. I remember him. August 25th, 1938. I don't know what that one says. Like I said, it's not, it isn't vandals. It's people that were supposed to be here, so to speak. But that's the bell. It's pretty small, really, in the grand scheme of things. You go to the, you know, the Sistine Chapel, their bells are more impressive. This is a this is a farm church's bell. This was never meant to be seen or anything. The only reason it's made out of brass because it rings correctly, I suppose. I don't know a lot about bells. I know there's quite a lot to it. Patented 1855, it says. Don't know when the bell was made. I don't think it has that cast into it anywhere. It's kind of a shame. It'd be neat to know. Oh, wait a minute. Something over here. Jones and Company founders, Troy, New York, 1863. Oh my gosh, during the Civil War, they took the time to make a bell. Jones and, well, company's gone, but must have said Jones and Company, Troy. And down here you can see the pulleys where the rope just comes up through there and then goes around. There's a groove in this wheel. It goes around the wheel, and it just pokes through a hole and ties there. And I guess it's set up if you wanted to, you could ring it the other direction. That's kind of strange. Maybe you're supposed to every so often change directions. I don't know. I'm not really a bellologist, but you can see the groove where the rope rides in. I hope the video is coming out okay because it's really close quarters up here and hard to see what I'm doing. Now this this is a topic for another video. This right here is a striker, and the way this is supposed to work is you leave it so it hangs about there all the time. You hook a rope onto here or a cable, and you have it set up so it hangs about there, or actually as long as it doesn't hit the bell, you know, when the bell rings. And then what it's for is for a striker on the hour. I suppose back then it would have had to have been manually rung on the hour. And nowadays what you have is automation, so you have this set up so that it rings automatically, like tolls the hour. Some places toll lightly every 15 minutes and loud on the hour or whatever, and it counts off the number of hours it is. So these are the things that keep me up at night. I've been really thinking it would be fun to rig this up so it would ring on the hour. It's never worked. It's never been in working condition that I know of. I'm sure it hasn't. This thing's never been used, you know. Must have just been the way they make the bells. You can tell even on the end it's just a cast iron lump, and if it had been used it would be polished nice and round to match the shape of the bell, and it's definitely not. So that's something I'm going to be thinking about, is how could a guy build that so it would chime. It's got to be really quite reliable. So this is something I will ponder, but in the meantime I think it's important we get this fixed up here. Get it so it's, you know, ready to ring for another 100 years. But if you've ever wondered what's under, how they work, the bell, this is the underside, so that's the striker obviously, and it hangs and it swings. The striker, hold on, the striker is on a pivot, so it wants to hang. Gravity wants to hang it. You can see how it's been beat. It's got a flat on it here where it hits the bell. So this wants to just hang, and when you pull the rope you swing the bell, and the striker takes a couple pulls usually, but once you get a rhythm going, after a few times you'll get it rocking far enough that it'll hit the edge and it'll ring. Now those are like a baffle. There's one on each side, and the striker hits them so it doesn't hit the bell too hard. I think it's all about just keeping it from damaging the bell. And there's actually, I think there's supposed to be a piece of leather on there, which you can see is long gone. So there's another thing to think about, if we could figure out a way to put a piece of leather on there. But it's actually kind of brutal service, because years and years go by with no maintenance whatsoever, and takes quite a beating. And you can see from the ring, there's a ring around. I'm getting in my own light here. There's a ring around there. That ring is right where the striker hits, and the reason it goes around is the bell spins. I can't spin it myself because it's too heavy, but this whole thing, this whole mount up here is made to hold the bell steady but allow it to spin, and when it rings, the vibration makes it turn just ever so slightly. So that bell is always turning itself a little bit. This is judging from what I've read anyways. Turns itself just a little, just enough so that the striker isn't always hitting the same spot. Because if that had, I mean, this is cast iron and it's been worn flat. So if it were striking the same spot on the bell, being probably brass, whatever it is, it's softer, and it would have most likely pounded a hole right into there, you know, it'd be a real noticeable. So it's definitely, the bell definitely spins as it rings, so it has to be just the vibration. Now that's something I'll look into that a little bit too, because it's maybe that this is supposed to be getting some sort of lubrication, and it certainly isn't. So I'll find out about that. I don't know, this can't turn. This is keyed here, so that cap can't turn. I don't know if it spins here. I don't know how that works, but I will investigate and try to learn a little something out of this deal. Oh, look at that. How high are we? That is 113 feet high. I know when they did some renovations here at the church, and when they did it, part of it was they had a surveyor take readings off this belfry in order to set a benchmark, because it leans back towards the building just slightly, and they were concerned that it was still moving. The engineers think it probably moved in the first 20 years of its life and then didn't move anymore, but they were concerned, so they documented exactly the measurements of it right now, the angles, or not right now, I think it was in the early 90s. So probably when they were here, when the surveyors were here, they probably set that benchmark. There's a little spray paint line right there, 113 feet. That would be off the ground, because the ground here is 300 feet above sea level. So it's not that. It's 113 feet off the ground right there. But looking up, I don't know if a video will do it justice or not, but it's quite a ways up yet to get up to the peak up there where the lightning rod was. And I had showed you where there was a hole where a guy could climb out, and that is up this ladder, which is suspicious at best. You can't see it. It's not way up there. It's in this area here, but you can't see it because you have to step out onto some boards to get to it. But that's where that hole is, where you can climb out and access above there. Now, I don't know if there's any human beings left who would climb out there. Nowadays we use a man lift, because that's what OSHA says to do. Okay, I just got to get a few measurements here, and I'm going to be ready to climb back down. And I'm not going to take you down for the ride, because I got to, well, hold on for dear life. Your craftsmanship, you know, is unbelievable to me. This is all mortise and tenon, wooden pegs. And then there's some steel. They got, like right there, they got steel bolts through. Holding that. Oh, that's interesting. They didn't have a long enough... Oh, that's really interesting. They didn't have beams long enough, so they had to splice them. So what they did was they cut a notch there, notched it in, sliced it off at an angle, put the same notch up there, and then they just put 3 bolts through to hold those two halves together, and that's just as strong as the beam would have been if it were a continuous beam. And that gave them enough to get up there, because see, it's tapered. The building gets smaller as you go up, but then when you get up there a ways, it's a straight shot up for the last 10 to 12 feet, and then there's a big peak roof on top of that. So I just can't imagine being up here, framing this thing, putting these beams together and putting all this framing up to get ready for siding, because obviously they were right out in the wide open up here. And when you look out the vents, you realize that I mean, it curls your toes a bit, even being inside here. If you didn't have any walls around you, it would be unnerving. Let's put it that way. Okay, I'm going to get what I need to get, and I'm going to climb back down out of here. Oh yeah, see, this is interesting. Over here you can see that there's actually, this is ground up iron. You know, that's just iron dust there that's come out. from here. The other side still had a sliver. I'll show you. I'll go back around. Still had a sliver of a bearing. This side has just dried up, ground up iron dust mixed with probably whatever oil they used to put in there. But this one is already quite egg-shaped, and she's going down. So I think it's a worthwhile, oh dear, a worthwhile project to get this thing bushed back up and get it back into shape. So over here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but in there's still a sliver of what is probably a bronze bushing or a brass bushing. And that sliver, I think, probably used to be on top, but it's over the years worked its way around. It's on the bottom, probably stuck there. But certainly not being a bearing anymore. Actually, here you can see there's iron powder where it's just getting pulverized coming out. So I think it's a timely project. I think we better get it taken care of. I had to take a second look here, make sure it didn't, I guess it's not supposed to have a shoulder in here. It doesn't look like it anyways. Just a straight bushing, but man, that pin is nowhere near round anymore. It's really worn off on the bottom. I guess the thing to do is to make the bushing that I think it needs, put it on there and just see how terrible it looks. But I mean, the only way to really fix that would be to cut that pin off and put on another pin, and I don't think we want to get into that. That's a pretty major project. You'd have to drill and tap a hole or something, and then you're relying on a tapped hole to hold your bell up, and I don't like that very much. So we're going to avoid that. We're gonna make a bushing. We're going to put it in there, and we're going to say, you know what? It's better than no bushing at all, unless it really looks terrible, in which case we'll carry on. I can spin a couple of those bushings out, and we'll stick them in there and see how it goes. Normally I'd probably go home, make the bushings, come down and put them in, and then finish the video up, but this is gonna be a while. I gotta get the bushings done, and then I gotta figure out how to lift up this bell that weighs, I don't know, I have no idea how much or how or whatever. I've had to find some buddies who want to come and, you know, lift up the big bell. Probably don't have any of them. So anyway, we're gonna put this video out, and then when I get the bushings done, I'll do another video of us putting them in and trying it out and see how she goes. I've gotten myself into another weird, probably dumb project. But you know, I think it's worth doing. The old bell is certainly worth saving. This is the type of thing I normally would have not told anybody about, but of course with, you know, you guys, you can't keep your mouth shut. I know it. You're gonna tell somebody. That's okay though. I just wanted to once again tell you, look for opportunities in your hometown, in your neighborhood, whatever it is. You've all got them. Look around. Who can I help? What can I do? You know, this is a church. I know some people don't. You say, well, I'm not religious or whatever, but you know what? They still need people to do stuff. So just go down and offer up some help if you can be of some help. Or you know, maybe not a church, maybe something else. But I encourage you to get out there and get involved with your community. Feels great. It is great. In this case, we can preserve something that's been up here doing its job for a long time. Maybe we can make it work for another long time. But that's it. I'm not gonna hound on you. You know, we're friends, you and me. And speaking of friends, make sure you tell your friends they need to be watching The Town Tinker. It's like The Village Idiot, but with big bells. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.